What's up, baseball glove buddies? Dave Wagner, Wagner Baseball Glove Repair, and I haven't done a long video in a while, but I wanted to redo my how to break in your own glove video. I've had plenty of testimonials, chances to talk to other lacers, and I wanted to go through things a little differently than the first try. In the first try, I explained the glove and I explained a couple techniques. This one, I'm going to explain the glove, and I'm going to go through 5 distinct techniques that I've been able to kind of filter in the last year. So let's get to it. So here's an example here of 2 identical A2000 1788s. This one is unused. This one I just did my break-in work, and it's technically more of a pre-break than a break-in, but whatever. As you can see, they will be pretty similar when I'm done, but that's not exactly why I'm showing these to you right now. I'm showing these to you, I'm just going to use one, and explain to you what you get when you get a brand new glove. All right? So you will get leather that hasn't been used, laces that haven't been used, settings that you can adjust, and then you'll get, and this is the big thing, or a very large factor, you will get inside of these layers of glove something that looks a lot like Vaseline, a lot like it. However, it feels and acts much more similar to perhaps chewed gum or a smooth peanut butter. That's the consistency. So something it's hard to get off your hands, but it functions kind of like a soft cement kind of material. So again, gum between gum and gum in a carpet, gum in your hair. It'll stick things together, but it technically moves. Okay, so it's not a hard cement; it's kind of a soft joint surface joiner, and that has been placed in gloves. Every glove that comes off the line for about 80 years, every one of them. So if you're saying, "Hey, I wonder if my glove has factory palm adhesive in it," if I haven't worked on it, or a few of the guys that I've worked with to teach them, it does. It always does. Okay, that's what's in your brand new glove. You don't know this. The average consumer has no idea. But this has been in the industry for a long time. Well, why is it there? Well, a very good reason is it allows the glove, when it's completed and sent to you and you pick it off the shelf, like every dad does. I'm going to do this for you. A2000. These are great. Oh, this feels great. Oh yeah, this is it. This is how every dad basically picks out a glove for their kid. It's pretty much that. I've had a long history of selling gloves to people. But okay, so what the factory palm adhesive does is there's multiple layers of leather. Here's the layer which your hand touches, and here's the layer with the ball touches on an A2000. It kind of glues them together. It doesn't glue them in the same way that perhaps like a spray adhesive, like contact cement, where you can't move the pieces. It functions as kind of a slow moving glue, and it's between the layers of leather. It starts here, but when a glove is produced, at some point a pounding machine, which more or less will do this, will be used to smush that palm adhesive around in the palm. And what it does is it creates what appears to be a very solid, whatever that means, pocket. It does a nice job of temporarily reducing the appearance of any crease lines, because this looks pretty smooth, right? Okay, and in a way it kind of provides a certain type of padding. It's not a very efficient padding, but it's kind of a padding. So that's what happens. That's what you're getting when you get a brand new glove off the shelf. Now, the lace that you have is also new, but in general it has never been pre-stressed. So it's pulled off a rack of lace right from the factory. It has never stressed, so it's never forced to bend a little bit, and it has never been treated with anything. So no oils or secret potions go on the lace. Okay. All right. So now that's what you're getting from the store. Now let's go through the common methods that I'm finding are used to break in a glove. Okay. The first one is I'd like to call the hot water pound method. Now this is made famous by Aso-san, who is a designer at Wilson. You can find videos on Aso sign breaking in gloves. You'll see him basically taking a new Wilson, a glass of water. The only thing I might not have brought here is a cup, a small cup of water, hot water, and you'll see him pour water into the pocket, kind of in this direction, right? He'll do that a few times, then he'll break out his mallet. It may not look quite like this, and he'll start banging around in here, okay? That's the hot water pound method. No oils are used, okay? The reason is, and I do have a pounding pad, but I'm not going to go into that right now, okay? So I'm giving you a brief overview. You can watch Aso sign do this, okay? What they're doing there is he's with hot water. Hot water absorbs into the fibers of leather quickly. Okay, so that's good, I guess. And when you hit leather that has hot water in it, this is the good and the bad part. I tend to think this is the worst method. Because when leather is hot, the fibers in the leather begin to tear apart when you're pounding them. Okay, so this is probably what I'd say is the worst style. But so you're stretching those fibers and you're actually tearing them a little bit. The other thing you're doing is you need to get that palm adhesive to move around, and the easiest way to do that is to get it warm. So contrary to what most people believe about Aso's method, he's not pouring the water onto the leather specifically to break down the fibers. It's part of it, but he needs to get that palm adhesive inside warm enough so it starts to move and shift. Okay, so hot water on this area, the heat gets into the palm adhesive, which is heat malleable. At about 110 degrees, the stuff will liquefy, maybe 115. So if you put really hot water on that palm adhesive, instead of being like peanut butter, I have peanut butter. Instead of being like peanut butter, will actually be a little more like Vaseline, which you can move around. And so the point would be, get it hot, get it wet, bang on it, scooch the palm adhesive out of the middle of the pocket, and then let it cool off and reset, and you've set the break of the glove. That's the common idea in the Aso style method. Different people use it with different twists, okay? But that's the Aso method. Problems with it: palm adhesive remains in the glove, and you're tearing the leather fibers. So this is a decent method, I guess, if gloves are easy to get for you, because this is the method that he uses with pros, and they get 2 free gloves a year. So you will shorten the life of your glove if you pour hot water on your glove. It will happen. There's no way to get around it. So that's method 1, the hot water pound method. Aso is a good example. Then there's the straight pound method. Now this is done by certain people who don't want to add any additives, but they just want to beat the crap out of the glove, and through hitting it in certain areas, they are going to move the palm adhesive that way. It's harder to do it, but you won't tear the leather fibers because you're not making the fibers wet, okay? So in this style of method, you'd have a pounding pad. This happens to be a Mizuno pounding pad. I like it. Here's a Mizuno pounding thing with a hockey tape style grip, which really helps because these things fly out of your hands. And a straight pound method is you lay the glove down and you start bashing it. And what you're trying to do is, again, get that palm adhesive, which is centered in this area. You're trying to basically push it out of the middle up in this direction or this direction. Now here's the problem when you start doing that, and this is any pound method where you don't remove the palm adhesive is going to have the same problem. The more you push it up this way, what you have inside these fingers is felt. Now good felt is made out of wool, like in this glove. Felt is more or less similar to carpet padding, or it's probably the best equivalent, something you may have run into before. Now think about this. If you took a big piece of chewed gum and you banged it into a piece of carpet padding, do you think the carpet padding would stick to the gum? The answer is absolutely it does. That's a problem, because felt, okay, is not super durable when it's being pulled at in multiple directions, which is what you're doing if you're banging on it and you have palm adhesive trapped between the leather and the felt. You're going to grind that palm adhesive into the felt. Over time, what happens is when a ball will strike your glove, of course they're not a ball, this looks like a ball. If it strikes your glove, what's going to happen is the pressure will tend to tug down in this direction on the felt, which is stuck to the leather with the palm adhesive. So what can you expect happens? You got it. These felt edges are nice and square when a glove is new, and they come out about a half of an inch farther down. It is not uncommon, and I'll use this ruler to show you. This is kind of what a piece of felt looks like in a brand new glove. Kind of like that. It is not uncommon on a glove that's a few years old to see the felt deteriorate and have to remove almost 3/4 of an inch. It's usually the worst in the index section, where it goes from here to sometimes up to here, and then it's a little less worse in the middle, and then not too bad in the pink and the ring finger, but the concept is the same. You don't want to mix gum and carpet pad. It's not a good mix. But all of the first 4 methods are going to basically do that in different ways. So the strike pound, you're going to beat the piss out of this thing sitting on a bench. You know, if you watch some of the Glove Whisperer, some of his older videos, he's got the glove on a pad on a bleacher bench, and he's banging away, right? Okay. I'm not saying he uses hot water, because he doesn't, or that he doesn't use some other tricks. He may. But I'm just saying that's a good example of a heavy pound method, all right? Also probably doesn't hit a glove as much as the Glove Whisperer does, but I'm not standing there over his shoulder counting. Third is the heat mold method. Now this is interesting because this doesn't actually hit the glove very much. This method is used by one of my friends, and this is the first method where you see not water but a break-in compound used to help accelerate your work. And now, this is a short little plug. This is the only thing I use on a brand new glove to actually help it break in. I may use Vaseline for color, but it doesn't do a lot. This is what it is. I'll put it real close. Mitt Spit. Spit. Made by Kevin Gillum. You can buy it online. This small container can last for about 30 or 40 gloves. It's very concentrated. It's a full synthetic. It has no organic stuff. You don't want organic stuff inside your glove conditioners, because organic compounds, natural fats, and oils will always go rancid. This doesn't. This is like liquid ball bearings between the fibers of your leather. So, one of my good buddies, his method, because he works with Kevin like I do, came on a different style. He will use this on the surface of the glove, specifically the pocket area and the inner pocket area, and he will then take, and this is really clever, this is more, I don't have a straight tube sock, but a sock, a sock filled with rice, white rice, brown rice, whatever, rice to about here, so it's kind of full, and he will take this, place it in the microwave for about 2 minutes. And then he'll do that to 5 or 6 pieces. And what he likes to do is take a couple of baseballs, like maybe a softball and a baseball, wrap it tightly with a towel, place it in a cooler, a small cooler, with several of these bags, I'm sorry, no ball inside, one of these rice bags inside that are hot. Leave it in a cooler for about 5 or 6 hours. Now, what this method is going to do is you're going to soften the leather fibers safely with this, so that's good. And you're going to modify where the palm adhesive is gently without pounding. So no pounding means you're not as likely to bang, you're not going to be smashing the palm adhesive into the felt. Okay, so that's a step forward, right? Okay, 5-6 hours in the cooler, then take it out, and you would keep a ball inside of it, because with factory palm adhesive, because it can shift all the time if it gets hot or cold, especially hot, you'd be keeping a ball in it. But this is a different method. It's kind of a heat molding method. No pounding, rather just bags of, rice in a tube sock, heated up in a microwave, placed inside the pocket and around the pocket, placed in the cooler, and it kind of resets and slowly shifts the palm adhesive. Okay, clever. That's really outside the box. It's a good idea. But again, you still have palm adhesive inside, which will cause damage. Okay, this is the other, I guess the fourth method is the heat pound method. This is the method I suggest to people. It's a combination of the heat mold and the heat pound. I also suggest, if you're going to do this at home, this is what you're using. Please I get 100,000 calls. Well, it's expensive. Well, it's this. Well, it's that. I mean, I do this for a living. This is what I use. I could swear by this. I could put it on my face. It wouldn't hurt my face. It's safe. Okay. This is what I use, and what I can suggest is you place some of this on the pocket and on the inside. And because it's concentrated, I like to use just a plain old mist spritz, like a mist of water. Not enough to cause damage, but enough to cause this to kind of spread around evenly. And then what I suggest is, I don't use a microwave or an oven. You can use the heated sock with the rice. Place it in here for about 10 minutes after it's warm. I don't use a bunch of other ones. And when it's warm in there, then you would get out your pounding pad. Okay. And this is how you'd lay it on a flat surface. And you would lay it below, probably at your waist height compared to your shoulders, so you can get some really leverage. And then here's the thing a lot of guys don't remember. Place some towel. This is a crappy beach towel that probably was white someday, 27 years ago. And always lay a towel over what you're going to work on, because that way, sometimes there's pieces of oil or little pieces of garbage on the actual pounder. You're not going to smash them in the glove and scratch the stupid thing, okay? So you'd be working by pounding into the middle. I'll try to pounding in the middle of the pocket, right around the edges. You're basically again trying to move palm adhesive to the edges. Then you can come out to the outside and work a little bit on the back side of the wrist, slowly shifting. And I'll take the towel off so you can see it. Slowly shifting this piece along the heel to try and get it to compress all the way through. All right. That would be the heat pounding method, and this is pretty easy to control because remember, you're going to use the heat to warm the palm adhesive, and you're going to have a really nice compound that works on the leather without ruining it. This is the method that if I have to tell somebody what to do and they won't send their glove to me to work on, I say do this. It's pretty good. Now the last method is the one that only, I don't know, maybe one or two guys in the country do, and I kind of came up with it because I was so sick and tired of the factory palm adhesive screwing up gloves, because I was doing hundreds and hundreds of gloves, and this stuff was chewing into the felt, making lumps, causing huge creases, because the stuff, if it gets warm, it congregates and shifts around. I was getting people complaining that they left their glove on their dashboard at a tournament on a hot day, and they put it on, it felt like a new glove. I was like, the leather didn't change. Oh, it's that palm adhesive trash. So I decided when I started lacing, this is 25 years ago, when I first started running into this stuff, I knew instinctively I didn't want it in there. So from the very first day, I've been removing factory palm adhesive. I've gotten better at it using a couple different methods to gently heat, and I use a dehydrator, which no one else really uses. Dehydrator allows me to use gentle, low heat that I can really calibrate, so I don't use hair dryers. In fact, some people will do a heat pound method while they use a hair dryer. Please don't use a hair dryer. It's harder to calibrate the heat settings, and depending on how close you are to the palm, you can damage the glove. If you get leather really hot, it shrinks, so you don't want to do that, okay? So I'll take the entire glove apart, all of it. So a brand new glove, just like this. He's like, oh, I take it apart? Yes, I want lace, because now I can work on the lace. I can get you brand new Tennessee Tannery Heart of the Hide 100-pound pull weight lace, which is just the same as what went in there, but I will pre-stress it and lightly oil it so it'll actually flex. So it isn't like this is, which is hard, 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 and then it tries to be soft in a corner. The whole thing will be, the whole strand of lace, about 6 feet long, will be usable. It makes a huge difference right away. If I only did that, it would feel better than what you had. Now, other things I'll do, I'll take every single hole in this glove and open it up a 1/16 of an inch. That way, the lace slides through it more smoothly. You can adjust things and tighten them more easily with less effort, and it's easier to work on later. I don't know anybody who does that besides myself, and I've explained it for years. Here's the big deal. All that factory palm adhesive, I don't care where it tries to hide, in the felt, around the fingers, it goes behind the fingers all the time. I don't care where it is, using a combination of plain old Vaseline my fingernail or a butter knife, I will get it out. So when the glove comes back to you, instead of having that resisting peanut buttery stuff stuck inside that will make the glove hard to close, it won't be there. You know what's going to happen? All that's between you and the ball now is leather, and leather will form to your hand. The big problem when you don't take that stuff out is you're not causing the leather to form to your hand. You are causing the palm adhesive in between the layers to form to your hand. Okay? When I'm done with a glove, you don't have to put a baseball in it anymore. You know why? Because this area, rain, shine, hot or cold, will not change. Okay? Another thing I'll do on almost all gloves, I'll put slits in the heel felt. So instead of banging and banging and banging, trying to make the whole thing bend, or sending it to some of the guys who say, well, do you want it broken in with a single hinge or a dual hinge? And they say, that means, do you want it broken in like this, or with this, plus this? And they'll try and make like these squares for you, like this. And they're like, this is, you can pick, single or double. I don't use any of that. I'd make it universal. I make this whole thing bend evenly, so that no matter where you place your fingers in your glove, 2 in the pinky, okay, index finger out, the glove will adapt to how your fingers are placed, because ergonomically I've removed the massive thing that is getting in your way. So if you want to play 2 in the pinky, you're going to get your glove to cross like this. If you want to go middle infield, finger out, it's going to cross more like this. If you go 3 in the pinky, and some guys do, it's going to close like this. It'll do whatever your hand does, because the palm adhesive is what retards the movement of the leather. In my process, I will use Mitspit glove break-in compound. I absolutely will, and I love it. There's also there's just a regular conditioner. Very concentrated, a little goes a long way. Something like this is about $10, but it'll treat all the gloves in your Little League. I mean, it's very good stuff. I do pound on gloves a little bit. Not a ton. I will be getting a pounding machine of my own, and then basically the principle is place something over the glove, okay, and then it'll be doing this type of thing. And I don't really focus much of my work on the back side. I see some guys who use pounding machines and they're working back here. I don't see how that's helpful. I'm going to be staying more or less right in this area, and then I will gently fold down the felt. So that's kind of how I will pound. Most of my work at this point without a pounding machine, 5 or 6 shots with one of these is all I'll use, just to make sure that the layers are seated nice and smooth. Will there be palm creases later? Generally there will never be. You'll find palm creases almost exclusively in gloves where the palm adhesive was there the whole time. So people like to say, oh, the palm adhesive makes sure it doesn't crease. No. When it moves around, it causes the creases. So when a glove comes back from somebody, from basically me, I'm not trying to be a jerk, but when a glove comes back from me, it will be impervious to heat, weather changes. You won't have to store a ball in it. Wherever you put your hand, it'll close that way without you having to do anything special. You can loan your glove to someone else. They can't screw it up. And you will never be breaking in the palm adhesive to fit your hand. You will only be molding leather to your hand. The method I've came up with was because of my own desire to make my stuff play better than everybody else who had the same models. So performance modification is a big part of what I do. There are other things I probably didn't even list when I was going through my standard work, but I believe the method that I've come up with, it's the one I use on hundreds and hundreds of gloves a year. It's, I believe, the best. But hopefully you've seen some of the other ideas and thought through why they might be effective or not. So review the hot water pound method, kind of an ASO style. Just a straight pound, no oils, no water. Heat mold, break-in compound with the socks, with the rice, no pounding. And there's the hot and the pounding, which is where you can, again, you could use this, the sock, microwaved, and then a pounder, and then my style, complete rebuild, a little bit of pounding on the end, but using this to make sure that the leather fibers are moving smoothly. So that's probably more information in my first video. It's a little longer, but hopefully it gives you an idea of what you're dealing with and different methods. You guys can always text or call me. I don't work with Facebook, Messenger, Instagram much. Just call me. That's why I sell. Text or call. I don't care. I'm pretty straight up. I will return calls. I will send texts back. But any other questions or comments, text me, call me. Hopefully this gave you a really good idea of what's out there and the different styles, and hopefully maybe why what I do really is the best in the business. So thank you so much, guys, and make it a lovely day.